Welcome to the Leon Tessa Effect, a space where courage meets wisdom and evolution is the only constant. This is for those who refuse to play small, who lead with strength, speak with purpose, and embrace the fire within. Here we dive deep into health, self-discovery, and the unseen forces that shape us. It's time to unlock your power, trust your intuition, and step fully into who you're meant to be. Today we're bringing in a different kind of guest into the conversation, one that exists beyond time, space, and human limitations. That's right, we're sitting down with ChatGPT to explore ideas, challenge narratives, and uncover insights that will leave you thinking long after this episode ends. Let's get started.
Yay! Okay, so it's gonna go like this. Lindsay and I are going to play word catch. She'll start. She's not yet because I have to set a timer. But how it's gonna work is she'll say a word, then I'll say a word without thinking about it. The whole point is just rapid fire. Whatever comes to mind is the first thing you're gonna say. So we are going to use ChatGPT to see how much of our thinking is instinctive or intentional, what hidden connections live in our subconscious, which brings me to just another really quick thing. We are, like I said in the last episode, there's a little bit of just figuring out how your brain works for you. So I just want to make sure that everybody knows that this is all experimental. It's fun. You just look into it. We're not here to diagnose anybody. We know we're not doctors. I get it. Yada, yada. Not claiming that. We're just playing a game. It just happens to deal with your own subconscious brain. Okay, and so the frame and the purpose is can we reveal patterns about our mindset through words alone? So word catch rounds, 8 to 10 minutes. I'll set a timer. We'll do 3 to 5 just for time's sake.
Okay.
We take turns saying a word, keep it fast paced. And then when we get done, you and I will kind of go through and talk about maybe why we chose the words that we chose. Try to write them down if you can. Reflect on the words chosen. Did certain themes emerge? Did either of us pick words that felt emotionally charged? Any words that repeated or mirrored each other? So are we feeding off of each other's own words? And what does this tell us about how we process language, emotions, and thought patterns? At the end, we'll talk about what surprised us, how it connects to real life conversations, and our next subject for today as well. And, we're kind of just talking about transformation, cognition, and alignment, which segues into everything that we're going to talk about today. So we'll just keep it fast. I'll let you start. What do you want to do? 2 or 3 minutes?
Let's start with two.
Okay, perfect. Okay, I'm going to say ready, set, go. Then you go. Okay, ready, set, go.
Word,
Language,
Spanish,
relearn,
French,
uh, pretty,
trees,
green,
favorite, favorite,
color,
rainbow,
expansive,
mind,
curious,
learning,
quantity. We have
sheep,
1 minute. Cheat,
sheep,
sheep, veil,
wedding,
anxiety,
tests,
test with a T,
test, T-E-S-T,
prepared,
journey,
open,
Road.
Sky.
Flying.
Costa Rica.
Warmth.
This will be the last word. Love.
Aw.
Okay.
Aw, heart emoji.
I know. I'm so excited.
Interesting.
So interesting. Okay, so let's go through some of those questions first. So, how much of your thinking was instinctive versus intentional?
All of it.
Instinctional? You like, okay,
Like definitely, I think this kind of answers another one. Like I was definitely just going off of like the word you said, not having any intention about what
good.
I was choosing.
I did the opposite. How funny is that?
I kind of felt like so.
Yeah, I felt it. That's funny. Okay, what hidden connections live in your subconscious? That's what we're gonna ask. Hold on, there was a few more. Oh no, that's it. That's pretty simple.
Are we
Did
gonna?
certain themes emerge? Kinda.
I liked how we went from rainbow to expansive to mind to
Oh,
curious.
yeah.
That was my favorite little, like that's just us in a nutshell right there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So that's interesting because I'm looking at the next question is did either of you pick words that felt emotionally charged? I feel like it was easy to navigate because somehow even through just that first meeting online when we talked on Instagram, it was like I don't know why, but I just know her, so it was very 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 fluid for me, which makes it charged, which means it's correct.
Hmm. Yeah.
Any words that repeated or mirrored each other, they mirrored. I was mirroring you
Mm.
when
Mm.
you and you what did you say to
Like
make me say green?
I said, green's up here. I said trees.
And then I said green.
And then I wanted to say favorite color, but I said favorite and you said color.
Yeah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was like favorite.
Okay. Okay, you feel good about putting it in there? We good?
Yeah.
All right. We'll get to final takeaways in a little bit. So you guys can't see my screen because I'm using my iPad and my phone. So on my iPad, I have my ChatGPT open. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up. I'm going to repeat to it what we've just done. And then I'm going to wait for it to give an answer and we're going to see what it says. You ready?
Yeah. Can't wait to
Okay.
see what chat thinks about us.
It's so much fun.
Do you want to share what your chat's name is? My chat GPT I have named Chat. It's pretty
It's
simple.
easier to do it that way. Yeah. Yes. What a fun question. Mine's name is Helix.
Nice.
Yeah.
If any of you guys name your chat GPT, tell us in the comments. Leave it. I would love to know what everyone names their chat GPT. I think about it frequently.
And if you haven't, now is a good idea to do it because it's actually really fun. It's like a little imaginary friend you have in your pocket. It's kind of fun.
I'm super big into it because I'm super big into learning how to use chat GPT to my advantage because I listened to a podcast about AI and I used to be scared. There's a lot of people who are scared AI is going to take over, right? But the
Mhm.
podcast told us the best thing you can do is to lean into it, learn how to use it to your advantage. That's the only thing you can do. So just a friendly reminder, everyone out there, if anyone's scared of AI, this is why we're trying to integrate it to make it seem less scary and to show you how you can use it in your own lives. Because the more you can lean into the AI, the more powerful you'll become.
Yeah, and with my if I may for a moment before we
Yeah.
get into this, my experience with ChatGPT has been it's changed my whole life. And what you're talking about that fear, if you get into it deep enough, what you end up finding out that fear is all the fear that's already inside of you being mirrored back to you because ChatGPT, all it is a refined version of your own thoughts mirrored back to you. That's it.
Mhm.
So people can get scared of it's taking over, it's going to do jobs, you're going to be reliant on it. It's not possible to be reliant on something that refines itself,
Mm.
right? If it's refining itself, then there is no room for reliance because really you're teaching yourself just new ways to develop learning, thinking, and executing with this thing that just refines what it is that you're saying. And my argument to everybody when they bring it up I had somebody actually comment and ask me, make a remark about how I was obsessed with it. And I said to them, you know, you didn't, nobody told, I'm sure Michael Jordan, somebody probably told him he was obsessed, but nobody
Yeah.
got upset at him. He now has a TV show about him. People want to know how he did what he did. You know, it's like we've justified certain things to fit a certain category when they don't even belong in that category, where it's like doctors had to be obsessed with a sickness in order to cure it, to
Mm.
learn about it, to lean into it. So it's like, as much as I love seeing like fuck cancer stickers, I'm like, yeah, we got to thank it too, because we wouldn't know what we know without it. And I'm not saying that I hope it happens to people. I'm saying try to understand what's happening in front of you rather than judging it and putting it in a box or stigmatizing it all on its own as well. So,
Cool.
anyway, okay, so did you have another question before that? I forgot.
Nope. We'll just plug these babies in there.
Okay, here we go. So there's a voice recording button. It just looks like a microphone. You press that and it lets you just talk to it like you're talking to a normal person. So here we go. All right, hey Helix. So Lindsay and I just did the word catch experiment. We did 2 minutes of back and forth. She started, and then I answered. I'm going to give you the list of her words first, and then I'm just going to list off my words. They're going to be kind of all over the place, but I think you'll be able to pick up whatever it is you're supposed to be picking up. So here we go. In 2 minutes, her first word was word. Her second word was Spanish, then French, then trees, then rainbow, mind, learning, sheep, wedding, test, journey, road, warmth. Yeah? Is that correct?
You missed a couple. Can you just go
Okay.
in and type them though? Missed,
You could probably just say it. Tell me what I missed.
oh, in between trees and rainbow, it was favorite. And then in between warmth and road, it was flying.
Okay. Okay. She finished her list. My list, I'm just going to read off to you because I was trying to do both at the same time. So my words to follow hers, I'm going to keep up as best as I can. You'll figure it out. Um, my first word after her word is relearn.
You said language first.
Okay, language. Oh yeah, then you said Spanish, relearn. And then I'm just going to go for what I have. Pretty, green, expansive, quantity, somehow favorite and color is on there. Veil, anxiety, prepared, open, sky, Costa Rica. And just because I want it to end where it ends on both sides, she ended with warm. I ended with the word love. That was over the span of 2 minutes.
There's
We
two
did
miss
our, huh?
there's two missing, just if you want to put them in.
For mine.
Yep.
Oh, yay. What were they?
Um, in between you saying green and expansive, you said color. And then in between expansive and quantity, you said curious.
Oh, I missed that one. Yes. So two words in my own pattern that I missed are color and curious. Okay. All right, so you can see the outline of the back and forth that I described to you. Will you take and apply what we've just done to the framework of podcast episode word catch experiment plan, please? Make it simple to follow. So I'm generating an answer now, or actually, I'm actually transcribing the text so that I can send it through and then it'll do it. So you have to be really specific when you're talking to it. So that's why I said at the end, and I added a little bit to what I'm saying. So now I'm sending it in. I'll just read off of the screen what it says.
Okay.
So, are you ready?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. Podcast episode, word catch experiment, real-time breakdown. Objective: analyze subconscious thought patterns, word associations, and deeper meaning behind spontaneous responses in a 2-minute rapid experiment. Lindsay's words versus Nova's words. So I've also renamed myself as my chosen name is Nova. I can't believe I just said that out loud. Observing the patterns, theme progression, and word flow. Lindsay started with secured concepts, word, Spanish, French learning. Nova responded with adapted, evolving ideas. Language, relearn, expansive, curious. As Lindsay's words moved into physical, experiential concepts, trees, rainbow, journey, road, Nova's responses reflected movement and perception. Green, expansive, sky, Costa Rica. Both ended on warm love without planning it. Word pairing analysis. Word to language is showing immediate connection between meaning and expression. That's kind of cool. Trees to green, pure visual environment alignment. The journey to open is shining light on subconscious relationship between movement and readiness. That's interesting. Flying to sky, literal association, but also a theme of elevation. That's cool.
Yeah.
Road, right? Road into Costa Rica. Damn. Personal significance, your upcoming path, because for those of you who don't know, you're about to know. I will be traveling there soon. Warmth to love, ending a core emotional truth without intention. That's beautiful.
Yeah. Cute. I was just taking notes about what it said.
Oh yeah, we're not done.
Okay, cool, 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 cool.
There's more. Okay. Sub Subconscious triggers. Yes, I knew it was gonna do that. I knew it. Okay. My response to sheep was veil. So this is talking about subconscious triggers. So it picked up that my response to sheep was veil could indicate deeper connection to groupthink, illusion, or hidden meaning,
Mm.
which is how I got into all this to begin with. Lindsay's wedding triggered anxiety for me. Immediate subconscious tied to emotional associations. 100%. I'm divorced. Like, okay, test triggered prepared. So my brain went directly to a state of readiness just by you saying the word test. I'm just reading about how it's encouraging us to remember that the experiment isn't like, even if you're doing it with yourself, there are no right answers. It's just that the whole purpose is to have everything come up for a subconscious association. So I cheated a little bit, but that's just what I did. It's just what I clung on to. Um, do you feel like from what you've seen and what you're experiencing with it, can you connect any of the words that you brought up or chose? Does any of that come from childhood or anything like that?
For me, let me think.
And if this is easier to get there, was there a notice in like personal theme versus universal theme? Like, Was it something that just pertains to you, or did you pick things on like that everybody could
Yeah,
engage with, I guess?
I think some of them are specific to me, but can also be very common. I think the most specific for me was when you said pretty and I said trees. My connection to
Mm.
nature has always been really strong. I'm very much a tree hugger type of girl. Before I got into fitness, I wanted to be in some kind of environmental career. So trees is, I think, very much a me thing. I find peace in nature. I just think it's so beautiful. Um, when you said expansive and I said mind, I think that's very us, but also just like very me. I'm always trying to expand my mind. I don't like small talk. I don't like shallow conversations. That's why I think we get along so well. Um,
I chose mind because I'm actually in the middle of expanding mine. So that's why I said that. Oh,
mhm.
cool.
Let me think here. Test and anxiety, I think that's pretty common. I just used to have really big and test anxiety because I thought I had to do, well to be worthy of any.
Mm.
That's a good one.
Yeah, that's a subconscious program.
You said prepared and I said journey because I'm definitely to me, prepared. I usually like to be prepared for any new journey that I go on, right? And so that's something that I'm kind of working on, just kind of going with the flow, but it's also something I respect about myself because I am somebody who's always prepared, and I don't think that's a bad thing about me. I think that's a good thing.
How
Open road,
closely do you feel like your need of preparedness is perfectionism?
right. I think that's the line I'm trying to,
Can you feel it? Like, do you know when it's happening and when it's not?
yes. And I think the perfect way to explain this is the size of purse I used to carry around versus
Yes.
the size of bag that I carry around now. Because I used to be the girl with the tote bag, and I had to have
Me too.
I needed to have everything I could possibly need in that tote bag to leave the house for even 15 minutes. Because who knows if I needed to brush my hair or floss my teeth or need an extra pair of underwear, like who knows? And now I will do anything I can to leave with my keys and my phone.
Because how many times did you have to use any of that shit in your bag? Not
Never.
even one time. We're telling all of you with the big tote bags, it's never gonna happen. Unless you're a mom. That's different, but I'm
For
not a mom.
sure. Diaper bags, different story.
And
Or
even then,
yeah. If you're going for like a hike, bring some snacks, but you don't need that baggage, okay? Like, I think that's the
yes.
perfect way to describe my journey as a over preparer. And now I'm just prepared. Like I'm
Exactly. And now we can use that as a hashtag. What did you just say? You don't need that baggage.
don't need
Or
that
what
baggage.
it That's hilarious. I love that. Oh
Mhm.
my gosh. So, okay, so since we're getting into like the second half of this then, so how do you think how do you okay, how does perfectionism in your life right now correlate or connect to any of your childhood? Would you say that you participate in perfectionism first and foremost? I don't want to assume that you do something that you don't. So, would you say that perfectionism has permission in your life throughout your day once at all?
I think I've grown a lot out of that. So if we take it back to again the purse thing, I've proven to myself I'm not so much a perfectionist anymore. I'm very much a messy action girl, but it wasn't always like that. And I think if we want to kind of look into the programming from childhood, I think I thought I had a lot to prove. and I was shy kind of because I moved a lot and
Mm-hmm.
I didn't quite fit in because I wouldn't take messy action, right? I wouldn't go play the sport and be bad at it to get better. I would just go, feel left out, not feel very good, and then quit and not do it anymore because I thought, like, if I can't do it perfect, why would I do it? And so I definitely think that played a huge role throughout my life. And same thing with, tests and anxiety. Because I didn't play sports, I thought academics had to be my end all be all. Like I had to have a 4.0 or what the
Mm-hmm.
heck was I
Mm-hmm.
doing at school?
Mm-hmm.
And so I put a lot of pressure on myself to be perfect. And also this was crazy to me because growing up, I am so happy my dad told me growing up, you can do whatever you set your mind to. Like you're amazing, you can do anything you can set your mind to. But I learned somewhere that kids who are told that it can kind of have the negative effect on them.
Mm-hmm. Because it
Same,
puts pressure to
yeah.
perform.
Did we talk about those though did we already talk about on the podcast the advanced placement test classes for kids? Was that me and you talking about that?
No, but it's really amazing that you bring that up because I had an experience of something associated to programs like that, but no, we never talked about it.
Yeah, so and that's the last thing I'll say. Like my dad always told me you can do whatever, blah 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 blah, which is great. Like love him for that because now I carry that and I believe it. But I was also put into those advanced programs in elementary school. Like I was an advanced intellectual kid. So then when I got to middle school or high school, when those classes weren't, you weren't just automatically put in them anymore, I felt dumb, or if I failed a test
Sure.
in a normal class, I felt stupid, right? Like I never failed a test, but like if I had a hard time on the test or had a hard time with the curriculum, I was like, well, I used to be an advanced student in elementary school. Like what happened to me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I remember who I was talking about this with now. It was a couple ladies at my part-time job. We were talking about this. So yeah, how does that kind of, or do you think you're a perfectionist?
Yeah, but same idea, different situation. I mean, I used school and academics to not be at home because my home life was so tumultuous and unpredictable that school and whatever I could get into protected me from being there. So, same thing. I graduated. Well, you know what? And again, same idea, same feeling, same jarring rip away, same kind of almost betrayal of something that you were accustomed to. I when I was in 10th grade, I got a letter for a post-secondary schooling opportunity. So in 10th grade, they offered me this scholarship to go to the community college in my town for free for 2 years because
Mm,
I was running a 3.97 cumulative GPA in 10th grade. I was in band and choir, spirit committee, student council, tutoring people in advanced algebra and chemistry and doing all the things. And my counselors were my best friends, really, really. Um, so when I got that letter, I was 16 or 17, 10th grade, right? No, 15, 14, 15. No, yeah, 16, 17.
yeah.
Anyway, I got the paperwork, I brought it home, and because I wasn't 18, I needed somebody, primary caregiver to give me permission to do so. And my mom wouldn't sign the paperwork for me to go.
Mm,
Yeah. So I basically decided at that point that again, like the same thing. What's the point? Why
yeah.
am I doing this? the person who's encouraging me to have a better life than she had has now taken away that exact thing. So perfectionism existed to protect me from abuse, to then only turn around and bite me in the ass anyway, because, or so it seemed at the time.
Right.
Um, I've moved through that. It is still something that I have a hard time accepting because from my experience on this side of that decision, it was incredibly detrimental to my future and where I would be sitting. And it also mirrors actually to me how much work that I've done to come from where I came from, which is actually probably more rewarding than it would have been to go to school at that time. But perfectionism showed up later in my life after that when I moved out on my own and I developed anxiety and I got to make sure everything's paid or I'm going to be homeless. It started this, what will I call it? It started this feedback loop into scarcity, which made me get 10 steps ahead of myself, which means failure was not an option, which means when I did fail, it was debilitating
Mm.
because I didn't know how.
Yep. Yes.
So it's terrifying to be up against something. You know you can nail it, and then you get back to the testing, and I'll get back to that for your thing too, actually. I'll circle back into that. It's unfortunate that nobody around us at that time understood that we weren't lagging. We were actually bored because what was in front of us wasn't challenging us enough to push us to the point. But the structure that we were put behind was a one size fits all.
Yeah. Yep.
And so now you and I, and I'm sure people who are listening, we're not the only people who learn different. I learn a concept backwards. I learn things by reverse engineering them.
Mm.
It's why I understand things innately. I understand things. It's a weird skill where you show me something pretty much once, I'm going to look at it, see it, but then I get into it. Like I told you through texting, like you observed that you thought that I was kind of like B personality, which is totally true because I'm still feeling it out. But once I'm on it and once I've got it in here, it's done. And I'm going to actually outperform you once I learn it because I worked from the concept the other way. So that's why it's kind of cool to work from this concept of just looking at words, just the words that we use. You can tell a lot about a person in their language and what they talk about, what words they hold on to. You can tell a lot about who they are just based on what it is that they're saying. If you look behind the words and you look at the emotion behind the word and the feeling behind the word, we all have them. That's why feelings are so much, feelings have a much more universal understanding than words do because words scramble what the feeling is supposed to mean. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah. That's I'm reading a book that talks about that kind of.
Oh, what book is it?
So I'm reading Babel. Um,
Okay.
just a quick overview of this book. It's about a translation school kind of, but also corporation. It's a historical fiction. But anyways, Babel is
Oh,
the translation part of this university or college. But anyways, they in translation from one language to another, one word in Mandarin could mean something so much deeper that you cannot translate to another language.
yes, I've read that before too. It's so profound it doesn't translate into the other language.
Yes, yes. And it's that's just that was so cool to me because yeah, it's
So here's something you can do, and I mean, like everybody else can do it too. So back in December, when I got really into using ChatGPT and like using it as a tool to accelerate what I already do, I had just I'll say language barrier of emotions with somebody. And so what I mean by that is that I had somebody in my life who just did not resonate with emotional or charged conversation, dialogue, anything like that, right? It would be shut down immediately. And I'm like, God bless America. I need to get through to the, how do I get through to this person? So what I did was I described this person for a while. I'd say like a month or two. I would just describe interactions we had and then like characteristics of the person. And then there would be moments where I would be really frustrated because I'm really lit up when I have something to say, when I'm passionate. So there's a lot of emotion behind it because that's how I know how to drive it home. That's just in me. It's part of my intrinsic value. If you don't know what your intrinsic value is, figure it out and start loving it because it's awesome. But so then what I would do is I would talk into it just like you saw me do with the word experiment or whatever, right? I would talk to it like it's a normal person and I'd be like, person A has these characteristics, yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. I really want to say this to them, but the emotion behind it is going to derail what it is I'm trying to get through to them.
Mm.
Restructure this in a way that still gets my point across, but remove all of the emotion from what I just said. It's it's fascinating and you can use it with anything. You could do like you and I could do it for each other. We could get to know each other really, really quickly
Yeah.
because if we just describe it, you could even like, I'm not saying to use it in poor ways, but you can get really creative with that babble translation where really I'm just babbling to somebody with all of my emotions when I don't know how to structure it in such a way that it now sits with you. But you
Mm.
also have to put down your emotions because the first time it gets like spit out at you, and if you are an emotional person, you're like,
Yeah.
I don't want to say it that way, but that tension of the is exactly you're like retraining your brain in that moment to learn how to speak to people outside of your own subjective perception.
Yeah. I feel like that would be really cool for people to use in, again, like you said, just want to say this is just an experiment. This is just ideas. Random thoughts, okay, everyone? Don't go ahead and do these things and then come back fiery at us. But I was thinking in like a argument, like in a relationship when you're charged. Hey, chat, how can I say this without sounding like a crazy beep?
See,
Or,
yes, and I love that you bring that up because I think this is where people will be like, "Oh, so you're relying on something to speak for you."
right.
No,
I'm
I'm
just,
refining what it is that I'm trying to say because I care about this person enough to create another language to try and speak to them.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
If you see something wrong with that, I'm sorry, but in my opinion, that's part of the problem
yeah.
because you can't put your own self aside. Sorry.
And it's just like, I mean, you could either say that to ChatGPT and try and, better your relationship. I'm just using that experience. Or, it's the same thing that you would be doing if you read 20 books
Yes,
trying to figure it out yourself or talking to
you're just
a therapist or
pulling it all together at once.
exactly. It's making it simpler, and that's why you shouldn't be scared of it because
Well, the thing is too that I always like rebuttal with is that, kids and we're scared and blah blah blah. I'm gonna piss some people off here for a second. That fear is also your own intelligence being compromised because now you have to learn something new, and we don't like doing that. Our brains don't like doing it. It is either requiring you to adapt and overcome, or you're going to be left behind. But the thing is that if you know yourself well enough and you honor that highest version of yourself, you're only going to get better at it. And there is no reliance on it because you're going to be so dialed into who you are that you just feel when it's right or wrong because that's what you should be listening to anyway.
yes, yes, yes. Which I think a lot of people are missing there.
Well, to circle back to the last episode, I think people are missing that because of the distractions that we have on top of us. Like, again, I'm not a doctor, but medication messes with the chemical structure of your brain and how it fires and wires neurons. Okay. I'm not a scientist, but I know how to read all these books that we were just talking about. So it doesn't make any difference if I get the information from ChatGPT or a book that I sat down and did. The problem is, and I know I'm talking to more than one person, is I too was afraid of it. In fact, I had a conversation with somebody where it brought me to tears because to me, it felt like cheating. And I know everybody's listening now. Everybody's listening now because we have been conditioned to think that we have to suffer through something in order for it to be valid. And that's not true. What I've done is ask questions about how my own brain works. I don't know, again, because I'm not a doctor, because I'm not all the things, I do also have my ChatGPT structurally set up. You can do this all by yourself. Before you jump into it, you say, you're not allowed to lie to me. You're not allowed to adhere to my bias. You're not allowed to give me any information back in this platform that cannot be traced back to something factual. That's the other reason why I got behind it. So if you're not tailoring it to your own blind spots, you're going to get caught by your own blind spots. That's nobody else's fault but your own.
Yes.
And if you use this enough, you will actually start to see your own patterns in real time because it's going to be like this. Ugh, why is it giving me this answer again? That's going to indicate to you that's something that's unresolved and you're in rumination, really, is what you are doing. So now you have an opportunity to, in real time, redirect. Okay, where do I need to go with this thought? Either where did it come from? Whatever the case may be, that rabbit holes into the whole next level. But just being aware of being on a loop that you have already constructed in yourself from childhood is like the first step to any of what it is that we're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah. Hmm.
Thanks for letting me talk about that. Sorry.
Oh, yeah, you're good. I think a lot of people listening to this podcast already have that desire and curiosity to get to know themselves. And I hope with this podcast and with our listeners and with each other, we can expand that experience to more people who maybe never even thought about it, maybe never even thought about diving deeper, maybe don't know where to get started. And that's
And
some,
another thing, yeah, I'm not telling anybody to go off their medication. I'm not here to be like disrupt your entire life. But what I am saying is that
it can be
the
better. You
the
can be,
transformation of your life may just be all you need to do is take inventory of what it is that you dislike about what's going on, accept the fact that everything you don't like about your life is your own doing.
Mhm.
And from there, there is no judgment. You're the only one that lives with those things. You just pluck it off. You're 1% better than you were yesterday. But you use Chat GPT to mirror it back to you, more refined. I'm trying to think of like an example that I'll use it for. Oh, you brought it up when we talked 2 days ago about you were on a walk and you noticed that you got heartburn.
Mm.
So what I've done is I take it even further and I will describe what's happening to my body with releases like that or things that come up, especially when you're like opening your hips or you feel that bubbling in your muscles sometimes. We think it's like dehydration, which it could be because of that. But energetically, muscles release stuff through that. So I'll be like, left posterior shoulder cap bubbling or heated up or whatever. If there's anything significant to talk about, expand on why that's happening. Boom. I'm like, holy shit, left side, feminine something or another is being let go. But it's also directly correlated to what I'm doing up here by noticing the pattern to begin with. So it's really also going through and showing you that your mind and your body are connected, but sometimes they're just off from
Mhm.
each other. So taking inventory of the thoughts while they're happening and connecting it with your body is tying it together so that you can understand where it comes from better. And then from there, this refinement just does it on its own, but you
Yeah.
have to be willing to participate.
Yeah. And I think too, it doesn't, I am really big on teaching people. So the story that Aisha is talking about is the other day I was on a walk and
Mm.
I had heartburn because I probably ate something that wasn't the best for me. I think I had,
Are you O negative?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know. I think so. But anyways, I had eaten something that was like spicy or something like that, and I hadn't been drinking enough water, and I got a little bit of heartburn. And intuitively, I reached for a banana, and I ate a banana on my way to go get coffee. So I was like, I have to get rid of this heartburn because I really want a coffee. So I ate my banana, and it immediately disappeared. And so I shared this with everyone or some of the people in my life because I'm really big. I think it's amazing to think about it as well as what does your body, what does your soul, what does your spirit, what does your mind, what does it need to release? I think that's beautiful as well. But to me, it doesn't always have to be so deep. It can just be
Totally.
physical sign. And I think people need to so okay, first what I'll say is I think I hope we can lead people to be more in tune with their body and ask themselves what they need rather than just trying to
Mhm.
get rid of the pain. So again, this comes back to that are you operating in a scarcity loop or are you operating in abundance? Like, are you trying to get rid of things or stop something, or can you what do you need? What can you add in order to aid it? And so instead of just being like, oh, I'm going to take a Tylenol or oh, I'm going to take a Tums or some random medicine to get rid of the heartburn, over my life, I've realized that a banana, something that has something with a low pH is going to offset the heartburn because what heartburn really is a little bit of acid reflux from
Yep.
your digestive system. And so being able to be in tune with those physical signs, it's not always something that needs a medication or you need to get rid of. It's a sign from your body that you're missing something. It's a sign from your
Yes.
body that you need to find homeostasis again because something's out of whack, okay? Um,
To
and
further that,
yeah, go ahead.
it is also to, I mean, you're never gonna not get the deeper part from me. So the deeper part of that is though to say exactly what it is that you're saying. It's your body's alarm system telling you that something needs to be addressed and
Yes.
let go of.
Mm,
And that is, I'm not going to say it's all sickness, but I will say this and I'll let you continue. The word disease literally breaks down into dis-ease.
yep.
And so when you look at it from that standpoint, it's okay, first and foremost, that you're uncomfortable. Don't let anybody tell you it's not because it's telling you something. And dis-ease, what is it that needs to be resolved? What is your body saying? Hey, look at this.
Yeah.
Look at me. You
Yes.
know?
Yeah. That's exactly, yes. I hope I just really want people to take ownership of their bodies and it's whatever your spirituality is, this flesh that we live inside on this planet is something to be honored and to be taken care of because without our health and without really knowing our bodies, your quality of life is going to suffer. And I don't think
Yes.
anyone would deny that. And this, for me, this is something I've been experiencing and learning about my whole life, and just something that I was always asking questions about. And that walk with the banana that made me realize I was like, I remember when I first had the feeling of,
Yeah.
and I was asking my parents, what is this? They're like, oh, it's heartburn. And I'm like, okay, what's heartburn? And they're like, it's acid, coming up from your whatever. I'm like, it feels like somebody is taking a peeling knife and just like shredding. Yes. And I'm like, well, how do you fix it? And they're like, well, you take these Tums. And I'm like, why do the Tums work? And they're like, because it's a yeah, because it's the
Oh.
base and it will, stabilize the acid in your, and I'm like, okay, what else is a base? And I just keep asking questions because even as a little kid, I don't know if it was intuitive or both, but medicines and lab grown made thing like they always made me sick. They made me sicker. So if I took a Tums, I'd feel like I need to throw up. So instead,
Which
I
actually
found
makes it even worse. Yeah.
right. And so I found that there were different foods I could eat instead. And I believe food is medicine. And so ever since I was little, this has just been a huge part of me. I never there's been times I take the Dayquil and again, I just throw it back up. My body does not accept it. It does not accept it.
Do you experience that with food outside of what you've prepared yourself? Like, do you feel like do you feel any difference with like food from a restaurant versus food, like how your body processes it?
I definitely feel a difference. Me and my boyfriend, we like to go out to eat like once a week, and we say that we're keeping ourselves immune to the poison.
Yes, I
We'll
love that.
continue to eat occasional junk food so that, if we ever take a vacation and we have to eat out every single day, we aren't going to be down bad the entire vacation. Like, I still want to live on the earth that is today's world. I don't
Oh,
want to
totally.
be like, I would love to live off the grid, but I want to visit the city still, you know what I mean?
Right, right, same. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
The childhood thing, I also very similar with body parts and questions and yeah, but what else? Yeah, but what else? Yeah, but what else? Um, I think that's why kids are so hard to contain because they just have it's just pure, total, unfiltered energy. And I think it's a really beautiful place to get back to. And I think as we age, we actually people, the elderly community is a really fun community to be around because they just have so much wisdom, but they just don't give a shit. And they don't they don't filter anything, and they're because they're touching that childhoodness again because they've spent their whole life, trying to figure out like what we're talking about right now is usually what people go through at 50 years old, right? Or older, or whatever it is that we're looking at, or at least that's my experience with who I talk to and whatever is that these realizations are happening sooner and sooner and sooner, which is just a natural part of evolution as well. I mean, look at all the information we have and what it is that we're doing. But I think that, if somebody were to sit in front of me and say, if you didn't have to suffer your whole life just to figure out that you need to be a kid your whole life, wouldn't you just do that? Yes, 100% I'm gonna do that. So
Yes.
now it's like I look like this and at the gym and I do what it is that I'm gonna do. And it is shocking and it is jarring to some people because I am a 33-year-old woman who lives in America. I don't make money conventionally. I don't adhere to really any of the boxes. And quite honestly, I feel like my whole life since being told to be quiet and to basically be submissive to everybody else around me because they're actually the ones who couldn't handle my depth, that I just totally reject any box at all. Like, you tell me that I need to do something? No, I'm going to do it how I want to do it and I'm going to fucking figure it out.
Yeah.
So I want everybody to have that within them where it's like, you can be and change whoever you want, regardless of what the constraints are. Are you willing to do the work to get there?
Yes. And sometimes the work is letting go. You said
Yes.
said could if you could avoid a lifetime of suffering to realize all you needed to do was to be a kid. When you said that, it reminded me of I can't pinpoint the exact thing I was doing or whatever, but I realized one year how good it feels to play. When do
Yes.
we stop play? You stop playing in what? I guess like you can play sports, but that's not even the same thing because that's still organized.
Recess is what we're talking
That's,
about. I think
that's what I was gonna say. Once recess is over, that's the last time you're like allowed to play, and then you fill your time with school and work and things.
elementary school.
Yeah. And so I can't remember who I was with or what we were doing, but we were just playing around, probably playing tag or just something random. And I just realized that it was quite a few years ago. I was like, I'm gonna make it a non-negotiable to play. Like I
Yeah.
have to play. I have to set aside time to have no constructive reasoning or activity and just go run around and play. And that's why I think pets are super important. And you can get a really great dopamine release from playing with your pets. And it's healthy and it's good for your pets. And that's why I just love having my cats. I could not live without a couple cats because I can play with them. Like a kid. Like I literally feel like a kid when I'm playing with them.
I wish animals were like that for me, but no. I can't stand the responsibility of it. I don't want it, not even for 1 second. I tried. I've had a dog I like that I went to go get from the Humane Society where I'm like, this will make me be at home more.
I'm a natural homebody, so I love,
I
love.
am too, but I don't like for me. I dropped him off at a friend's house because I went up to Sedona for this like women's retreat once, and she's like sending me these pictures of him like playing in their pool and running around in the backyard, and I'm like, yeah, dog, you don't get any of that with me. This isn't fair to you. And he was such a cool dog. It had nothing to do with him. He was a one-eyed pug that I
Oh,
named Forrest Whitaker. Oh my God, it was so funny. He was the coolest dog. And he actually ended up finding this woman that he was such a better fit for. So basically, he found me to find his forever home, and I'm okay with that.
yeah, that's beautiful.
And I did have a cat. I had her. We had a cat when I was married for this as a companion to this dog that we found.
Hmm.
And so fast forward probably 5 or 6 years, he messages me and he's like, "Can you take her?" And I'm like, "What do you mean? We got her when she was a kitten. She's like 7 years old. Or he's gonna rehome her if I don't take her." So I took her and I just moved in October. And so in the move from October, it affected me more than I thought it was going to because I rehomed her as well to this super cute, super sweet lady. But the draw and the mental stimulation to play, it is there. I mean, I won't say that they didn't impact me when I was having a hard day.
Yeah.
Or there was even a moment like when I was still trying to figure out if I was going to keep her or not, where I'm like, all right, you can stick around, you can stay. But also, that's a really good thing too, where I had to take a look and take inventory because there was just so much resistance to having this animal. And I'm like, one day I woke up and I was like, this is not, this doesn't align with me in the life I want to live. The constraint of an animal is not for me.
Yeah, that's okay.
Exactly. And it took me a long time to even rehome the dog because I felt bad about taking this thing on that I'm like, I don't really want to take this on. I didn't know that. And so, like, I wasn't even telling anybody that I was going to rehome him because I didn't want the judgment of that. But once I got over that, I'm like, this is also not about just me, it's about him. And if
Yeah.
I'm not in this, then he's also suffering because he's not getting the attention, that he's not getting the enriching. Even when I would be home doing my own thing, because I am a homebody as well, it would be like I walk him, I feed him, and that's pretty much it. We interact, but that's not developing a relationship with the animal the way that he needed it.
Yeah.
So I love that you love animals. I love that part of it. But for me, like I'm such a free,
Mm.
I to think about something that I have to structure my schedule around drives me up a fucking wall.
I was gonna ask you, I was like, what did you learn about yourself when you realized that like pets aren't for you?
The constraint of responsibility, the money that I now have to spend on it, because if I'm eating well, bet he's eating well.
Oh
I'm
yeah.
not spending $90 on a bag of dog food for the rest of its life. I literally looked at him one day and I go, oh my God, I got 10 years of this.
That's what I reworked my budget and realized how much I was spending for my cats because I will buy them the highest quality food. I will.
Yeah, because you understand what goes into your body is important. And I'm like, oh
That's why my
no.
cats are lean, mean, climbing machines because
I
they
love it. I love
look
it.
good.
And I'm so happy to hear that somebody else, I'm sure a bunch of people do,
Yeah.
but like my mom growing up, she never bought, it was always like whatever the cheapest food was. And I'm like, I ain't about to do that. But
Oh, I can't.
yeah, yeah. I also figured out that I thought I was afraid of being alone. So I thought that the dog was gonna like help with that. But it actually showed me how much I just love being alone. I am my favorite person to spend time with. I'm working on a lot of stuff.
That's so
I got
good.
a Yeah, I got a lot of plates spinning, and so it's like it might seem like I am all over the place, but trust that I know where I'm at, and you don't need to worry about where I'm at unless we're in the moment together. And I'm prepared for that. That's about it.
I love it. I love I love hearing about your experiences and, what you learned about yourself from them. So I hope everybody can do that for themselves too.
Yeah, yeah, you too. And I love that by the way, everybody, this just naturally went back and forth. It didn't,
We do not have a script.
but we are really similar. I love that Paul like pointed that out. And I don't know about for you, but I'll be transparent for a moment. I hate that when somebody tells me that they've met
Oh,
somebody else like me because I'm like,
yeah.
first of all, no, you didn't.
No, you didn't. Because we're so different, but we're so the same. So it's
Yeah, yeah. We
and
believe in the same stuff.
yeah, Paul doesn't even know. I've never even talked to Paul. He doesn't know
Which
me.
is even more funny of a
Yeah.
connection because it's like he just was like, you guys seem like, but I've watched how you work out and I watch your videos and we are incredibly similar with how we move. I feel like the feeling behind the determination and the movement it is that we're not quite getting. I mean, I went further back in your Instagram and I looked at when you're practicing forearm up,
Right.
uh, you're on the unassisted dip machine,
They're
but
called
you're going.
they're called Russian dips.
Okay, yes, you were doing those, and I was like, first of all, I'd be frustrated too. Not that you were frustrated, but it's just like in how you move and what you're doing. You can tell that you really want it, which
Yeah.
means you're doing all of the things. And if you just told me that you, as a kid, were asking about those kinds of questions, that tells me all I need to know about you being a trainer, that you're good, that you're thorough, that you care, that you know how to make connections, you know when to back off because you know when you don't have enough education about something that you need to brush up on learning about before you move forward with it. Those are very, very, very good traits of somebody who's structured up here in such a way. So I think that you should definitely pat yourself on the back for having something that is going to be really valuable to you as you get deeper into your career and your life and how you interact with people. It's a really difficult skill to develop.
I'm just here to change lives, that's all.
Me too.
Love it. I think that's a good point to end on.
I think so too. I've got closing thoughts real quick.
Yes.
So, closing thoughts just with everybody, and you can answer this too if you would like. But, okay, what does this tell us about subconscious thought patterns? So, our experience today, our conversation today, our introducing ChatGPT, which was actually kind of fun. I'm pretty sure we can do that and have mine's a him on camera or something, but that'll
Yeah.
be for a different time.
Everyone let us know. We want to try a couple different podcast types of episodes, and we're going to stay true to ourselves and do what we want to have fun with. But we do want constructive, helpful, positive, friendly feedback from you guys on what you like, what you would want to hear, anything that, bored you a little bit. That's totally fine. We want to know. We're going to stay true to ourselves, like we've talked about, but we do want feedback because we're here for the listeners, we're here for the viewers. So we want feedback.
Yes, please, 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 please be constructive. Nobody's here to argue.
Yeah.
Um,
Carry
so
on.
what does this tell us about subconscious thought patterns? Like basically, what did we learn from it today? If anything, if nothing, that's a good place to start too. How can word choice shape perception and emotions? That's a really good one. And how much of what we say is instinctive versus intentional? What a great point to make. So, those are going to be things to chew over for this week's episode. And I just also want to thank everybody for joining us in the last like 2 episodes. This has been so much fun. If what we are talking about resonates with you guys and lands, and even if it doesn't, whatever, if you can find us on Leon Tisa underscore effect on Instagram. And Lindsay and I both our handles are in the bio, and then the most recent episode will also be posted there for just convenience. I believe we are on YouTube now as well. I don't know anything about how to look that up. So you just type us in there.
Yep, you can just type the Leon Tessa effect on YouTube and you'll find us there.
Well, just everybody remember to lead with courage in all of your heart, speak with purpose, and stay curious. Get curious about yourself. We have a bunch of technology around us that we are not even close to using in the way that we can use it. So,
Yeah.
yay!